Welcome back. You are still watching Morning Live. Now, in the World Test Championship final out at Lord's, Australia will resume on 144 for 8 in the second innings, a lead of 218 runs as they seek to set an imposing target for South Africa to chase in order to win the match. A second successive 14-wicket day left the final fascinatingly poised. Now, to talk about this exciting match, we've roped in former South African fast bowler Vernon Philander. Vernon, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports on Morning Live.
Yeah, good morning. A real excitement in the air from my side as well. I think the boys have fought back tremendously well yesterday in order to give themselves a chance of winning a test match. So really looking forward to how today unfolds, to be honest with you.
We're all looking forward to how it unfolds. Let's speak about your speciality. We look at that pitch out at Lord's. Would you say it's given the bowlers more than what was expected? Because we're asking ourselves the question, are they excellent or have the batters just simply let themselves down a little bit from both teams?
Yeah, I think when you head to Lord's, I think there's a couple of things that you need to factor in. One being the element of the weather. I think when there is a bit of cloud, about the Duke ball do react a lot different to when the sun is out. So I'm hoping that there will be a lot of sunshine today because, you know, when the sun is out, the batters, do come into the fold. But again, I think we have seen on day 1 and 2, obviously overcast conditions at Lord's, and yet why we saw that ball do move around and it does become a real nightmare for batsmen. So it has been the bowlers that have been dominating day 1 and 2. Yeah. But like I say, hopefully we will see a bit of sun out today by the time we obviously head out to bat this afternoon, or well, this morning, hopefully English time. So, well, we first have a job to do at hand, and that's to pick up that last 2 wickets, that last 2 remaining Australian wickets. And I'd like to see the boys come out, all guns blazing this morning, especially Kagiso Rabada. I mean, what a wonderful advert for Test match cricket. And then, to see the rest of the boys join in. Lungi and Gidi stepping up late yesterday afternoon, picking up 3 crucial wickets. I think the wicket of Steve Smith is always a massive one in the context of a game like this where it will be a low-scoring event. So, yeah, first things first. So hopefully the boys can take that last 2 wickets and then zone in by the time we obviously have bat in hand.
And you speak about those last 2 wickets that we're looking to get. And it sounds to me like your approach in this instance is all-out attack, not contain. Or is it a bit of a combination of both?
No, I think you have to attack. I think obviously given, that it is tail-enders that's coming into bat, lower order batters, when I mentioned tail-enders, for those that don't know the cricket language. So it will be lower order batters, but you want to make sure that you don't, let those lower order batters get a quick 20 or 30 runs and really sway the momentum back in Australia's favour. So it will be how we start this morning, but I do feel that they'll fire up Kagiso Rabada, perhaps with Marco Jansen, and really make life really difficult for those guys to score. They'll perhaps have 1 or 2 boundary riders to just curb those boundary scoring opportunities. But I do feel that you want to try and knock, those last 2 wickets over as quickly as you possibly can.
Indeed. Something else that we need to touch on, Vernon, is just South Africa's batting so far in this World Test Championship final. We're certainly going to need our batters to meet our bowlers halfway because the bowlers are really working extra time right now. But in terms of that batting and how it's looking at the moment, we do need them to step up.
Yeah, I think it's also understanding. I think Test match cricket is pretty much about, obviously evaluating, what the actual conditions are offering up. And I think they would have learned a great deal in that first innings. I don't think it's a surface where you can go about, just being defensive. I think you need to have a good attacking option as well. So you have to marry the two. I think, you need to make sure that, I suppose you perhaps want to take the more positive route than, waiting for something to happen. Because I do feel that there's enough assistance in that surface, to aid the bowler. So as a batsman, you have to be a little bit more proactive. But again, like I said, it's the mindset of being a little bit more positive, being a little bit more aggressive, and almost taking the game to the bowler. I think as a bowler speaking myself, no one really likes it, when batters are coming after you. So I do feel that, with what's happening and obviously, the way that the surface has been playing, I do feel South Africa will have to take that mental step in saying to the Australians, we're here to meet you and we're here to play. So, yeah, again, I think, from a batting perspective, it's not just South Africa that's been struggling. I think both sides has been struggling on that surface. But again, it almost reminds me of a 2012 Test match, where Australia batted first in Cape Town. They got 280 odd. We got bowled out for 96, and then we rolled them cheaply in order to win that Test match. And it has a similar sort of feel to this particular Test match. So, like I said, hopefully the boys can wrap it up quickly, and the batters can get into the game.
And you're all right. We see risks as well at number 3 for both teams, South Africa and Australia. I want to speak to you about chasing 200 plus in a World Test Championship final. What is the mood, do you think? Because you've been in these situations before with South Africa. What is the mood in the change room right now for the South African team? And what would you say to them as someone who's been in this experience before of having to play under that pressure?
Yeah, I think if you look at, chasing just over 200 now, I mean, it's not a big score by any way of the imagination. But unfortunately, when you play with all the noise, with all the pressure that accumulate around you, of course, all of a sudden 220 seems like probably 400 under pressure. But I do feel that, if you can get off to a good start, I do feel that we have players who have been there. Aiden Markram, I think he's always been, especially against the Australians, obviously giving us those good starts. So hopefully he can tap into those memory banks of having those good starts against Australia. But it's an opening partnership. I mean, if we can land a 50-plus partnership, just to set the tone for the rest of the guys, I think, we're going to give ourselves a very good chance of winning this Test maze. Of course, you need your experienced players to come to the fore. You need your Tembas, you need your Bellinghams, the guys who have played county cricket, understanding, what it is, or what it's like to play in those conditions. You need those guys to step up and really stake a claim at, forming those partnerships and obviously dragging the rest of the squad along. But I do feel that I think it's a massive day for South African cricket. And just looking at how this team has gone over the last sort of 18 months, the adversity that they had to fight, they had to go and win a lot of games away from home, which, brings a lot of pressure about in itself. So I feel from a confidence point of view, these guys will head into this last innings feeling that, no matter what had happened, obviously the first innings gone, they can put it behind them. And I do feel that, with what they have achieved over the last 18 months, this last innings will really boil down to all of that taken into one innings and really, give it their best shot and obviously, give themselves the best chance of winning this Test match.
They really do need to give themselves the best chance. Vernon, thank you so much for your time this morning, and I'm sure we'll all be glued to our TV screens watching South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Vernon Philander, former Proteas fast bowler, talking to us about the World Test Championship. Of course, South Africa currently now just waiting to chase down this final 2 wickets from Australia. And he's saying he's backing our bowlers to get the job done, and then the batters will have to also step up to the plate.